Okay, I do want to talk about my first trade with NVDA here, the opening bell, and then it chopped around a lot on a very strong candle green. I got long, anticipating a pullback, but not what it did. The candle I got in on was so green and so strong, it came all the way down and formed a pintail. I said, oh no, I got out. The next candles turned red, and I thought it was going to keep going down, but it reversed strongly, and I got back in. And then I got longer again when it went over the top and started selling on the spike and sold a little bit more here, but then got back long and sold at the tippity top up here. And that's where we started going long for the day. Here's the stop loss that I was using. So I just want to capture that idea and psychology of that first part of the trade. Okay, what I'd like to do here with NVIDIA is simply use this bounce candle as a stop loss now that it kind of bounced off that area. Right here, it came down to the 28 and shot back up over the top. So what we're going to do is pull our stop losses back up to that, and that will be our stop loss for those trades that we entered in over here. This is what we were getting in early for. We were getting early so that this would, if it did shoot up here, we'll take one off on this spike.
Order filled.
Okay. And if it drops down below this area here, we'll get back in, try to ride it back up again. But this is what we were looking for. We got in a little early down here. We got in a little early down at the bottom, but that's what we were looking for. And I'm glad I kept my stop loss lower on this particular stock. And anyway, NVIDIA is very choppy. So real excited about this trade. It's working out finally. Okay, what I'd like to do here with NVIDIA is simply use this bounce candle as a stop loss now that it kind of bounced off that area. Right here, it came down to the 28 and shot back up over the top. So what we're going to do is pull our stop losses back up to that, and that will be our stop loss for those trades that we entered in over here. This is what we were getting in early for. We were getting early so that this would, if it did shoot up here, we'll take one off on this spike.
Order filled.
Okay. And if it drops down below this area here, we'll get back in, try to ride it back up again. But this is what we were looking for. We got in a little early down here. We got in a little early down at the bottom, but that's what we were looking for. And I'm glad I kept my stop loss lower on this particular stock. And anyway, NVIDIA is very choppy. So real excited about this trade. It's working out finally. Okay, for NVIDIA, we see on the day chart this rectangle box that I drew on the day chart, and that's because it looks like there's a resistance area up there. And so I'm looking forward to try to get up into that area and see if it will come back down right here. There's nothing has closed in this box. It's only been up there about 4 days in a row. 4 days in a row, and each time it could not close in that box. The low part is the last close in that box. So if it shoots up into that box, I'll look to take profits on that next piece. Okay, this might have been premature, but looking at the day chart up here, it's hitting a couple of days ago. There's a high point. And I'm thinking if it does break up through that and even go to that box up top, that it's probably going to do some kind of a pullback here, not just one little peekaboo over that pivot from 2 days ago, but it's probably going to do a two-legged pullback perhaps, and maybe kind of get congested here. So I'm looking for a deeper pullback. We sold the 2 shares that we bought in way down here, but if it drops down to the 20, we can get back in one of them. If not, we're out of our trade for this day trade for now. I'm looking for a pullback at the moment though. Okay, I am taking profit right as it hits the top of that box, or it was very close anyway. The close of this candle over here on this day is the highest close positive without falling down. So we got out of that share there now. So we'll wait for a pullback. It could pull back and continue to go up. It's stretched out pretty far here on the 15-minute chart. So let's just see what happens. Okay, NVIDIA did pull back, and it looked like it was pulling back pretty deeply, so I sold another one here. I sold some here and waited till it came down here to buy. And I bought here and barely made a profit on some of that right there. I started selling some of my longer term positions in here as well. Now, I bought back my longer term positions as it started going up, and so that was a bit of a loss on a longer term situation, but I have not done any day trading on this since we waited for the pullback. And now we had exited everything in the day trade. So all this is my long-term trading right now. I was too busy watching the video to catch this trade on PayPal. As you can see, though, this is the classic setup. The 50's coming down, the 820's coming down, everything's in line, 20, 150, everything's in line. So this could easily roll back around. Right here in this circle, right here at this box is the great perfect setup. As soon as it takes out the green candle, bounces off the 8 with the moving averages in that order, you short and you try to take profits down at the bottom. At least this would have broke even before coming back up. It bounced off the 100 moving average on another time chart, but that's okay. That's the kind of sell setup we want, though. Okay, with PayPal, I'll give it a shot here. It's real choppy. I'm going to give it one try just because of the overall day bouncing off of moving averages and a trend line on the hourly chart. It may go back and try to test this bottom again. We'll see. But what I did here this time was I evaluated the trend lines rather than the moving averages coming down. And I saw the trend line coming down over here. And I used that area at the last pivot at that trend line as my stop loss. And it did try to come up. It bounced off the 20. So what I should do now is move this trend line over here. And my stop is above the 20 and it's above that trend line. So if it, see the spike down, it's just not selling off. So if it comes up and gets me, my stop is in the perfect spot and I'll be happy with that try. I'll give it a try there. And we'll see if it does anything for us. Okay, with PayPal, I brought my stop all the way to break even because this candle right here shot all the way down and came all the way back up. And right here, this pintail came all the way back up to where I got in. So I brought my stop from here to here. Once it shot way down here, I said if price comes back up, then that's just telling me that that the momentum and the trading is going to be choppy and I don't want to be involved in it right now. Okay, a couple of more trades that I cannot avoid to talk about. I have to talk about this one, and that is after it faked me out over here, I wanted to try a second time and I didn't. It's interesting how that spike that got me out here, as you can see, it went right over the top of the trend line, right over top of the 20 moving average where I had my stop loss, right? And, I don't know how to stay in that other than to wait for a second attempt. Say it's going to get you out no matter what, because unless your pivot's way up here, and it could have been, but keeping a tight stop loss, this kind of spike up is going to get anybody. And then the next one down would be to try to catch it on this candle right here. But you'd have to be really quick to get that right there, because that was a good trade down, however. Again, I did a buy and a buyback down here, and I didn't hold it long enough, but that's irrelevant to this trade right here. This was a good second attempt. And right in this area here where it started to get trapped underneath the 20 and the 8, you had a narrow range bar, green, that I could have used to a short stop loss to come all the way down to this pivot. And so I missed that trade. The other trade I want to talk about is over here, where I'm trying to figure out the momentum and the angle and everything on this, and I get stopped out again. In my mind, it was a trade that I wanted to take in my mind. I didn't take the trade, but I was working it out in my mind that I would get in on this candle right here as it broke over the top of this consolidation area. And I would use my stop loss right here in this box that's down here, right here. Let me get rid of this and get rid of this. That I would use this stop loss right here. See, the red candle pierced it, of course, because I was using this trend line right here, and it was underneath the 20 moving average. So I had a trend line and a 20 moving average, and that red candle spiked through both of them. But there's other trend lines to use, and there's this trend line that went this way that I could have used. That's all the way under all the moving averages, underneath the 50, underneath the 100. It's even underneath this spike, this candle right here. So I'm thinking, where would I have put my stop loss if I didn't put it underneath this red candle right here? And it's going to be underneath the green candle because it'd have to take out the green candle, and it did take out this first green candle. So that was why, I could have kept my stop a little lower for the green candle purpose, and it could have came and ticked me out anyway. You see right there where it's tapping into the box. So could I have kept my stop loss underneath this candle, which was bullish, and you have another one bullish here? The point is, the candle that I got in on, I was only one candle behind, and it came and stopped me out. Or was I 2 candles behind? I don't know. If I was, right here, then it stopped me out big time. I guess the point is there's different kinds of ways of looking at your stop loss. In this case, using the 50 moving average would have worked perfectly because I would have been underneath it here. So I wanted to make sure I got those 2 trades talked about in this video as well, because I'm still contemplating how I could have done that differently. All right, I did give another try here. I bought long here at the bottom, and it kept rolling around. I realized, why am I trying to go long on this thing? Everything's down. All these moving averages are down. The day's down. Everything's down. So I got out with a tiny profit. The trade I want to talk about here is when price closes above the 8 and the 20, like it did right here, even above the 50 in this case. But you got these strong down signals for the higher moving averages. To me, that's a time to buy. In fact, the 50 was even sideways and even going down slightly. So I not buy, but sell. If everything's going down, it pops up over the 8 and the 20. So I shorted up here. I just started shorting up here in this area, and it turned in my favor, and I got out before the bounce up. The only problem was my mindset was that I was going to force this trade to go down, even if I had to add to it up here and keep adding. And that's not the kind of mindset I want for day trading, but I was willing to go into this as a heavy day trade and take a chance that I was right to the downside. That could have been a bad mistake. I want to make a note of that in the video, that I didn't have a stop loss really set on this one. So anyway, I want to record that. Thanks.